World War II was the deadliest war in human history. It changed the world forever, creating the modern powers we know today. Millions of people, soldiers and civilians, were caught in this global conflict. This war was not just fought on battlefields. It was fought in the air, on the sea, and in the minds of people everywhere. Let's look at the key moments, the turning points, that decided the fate of nations and shaped our world. The seeds of World War II were planted long before the first shot was fired. After World War I, the Treaty of Versailles placed heavy blame and costs on Germany. This created deep anger. In the 1930s, a global economic crisis, the Great Depression, caused widespread hardship. People were desperate for strong leaders and new solutions. In Germany, Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party rose to power, promising to restore Germany's greatness. In Italy, Benito Mussolini created a fascist state. And in Japan, the military took control, with ambitions to expand its empire across Asia. Tensions grew as these nations built up their armies and threatened their neighbors. The world was on a path to war. The war began with terrifying speed. In September 1939, Germany invaded Poland. They used a new tactic called blitzkrieg, or lightning war. It combined fast-moving tanks, planes, and soldiers to overwhelm the enemy. Poland fell in weeks. The following spring, Germany turned west. Denmark and Norway were quickly occupied. Then, in May 1940, German forces stormed into France, Belgium, and the Netherlands. The French and British armies were pushed back to the coast. In a dramatic rescue, hundreds of thousands of soldiers were evacuated from the beaches of Dunkirk. By June, Paris had fallen. Great Britain now stood alone against the might of Germany. The Battle of Britain began. For months, the Royal Air Force fought bravely against German bombers in the skies over England, preventing an invasion and showing that Germany was not invincible. In June 1941, Hitler made a fateful decision. He launched a surprise invasion of the Soviet Union called Operation Barbarossa. It was the largest military invasion in history. Millions of German soldiers pushed deep into Soviet territory. At first, they had great success capturing vast lands and millions of prisoners. The German army reached the outskirts of Moscow, but they were not prepared for the harsh Russian winter. The cold, snow, and ice stopped their advance. The Soviets fought back with fierce determination. The city of Stalingrad became a symbol of this struggle. For months, soldiers fought house to house in brutal combat. The German Sixth Army was surrounded and eventually surrendered. The Battle of Stalingrad was a massive defeat for Germany. It was a critical turning point on the Eastern Front. From then on, the Soviet army began the long, hard push back towards Berlin. While Europe was at war, tensions were rising in the Pacific. Japan wanted to control Asia and its rich resources. The United States stood in its way. On December 7, 1941, Japan launched a surprise attack on the U.S. naval base at Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. The attack was devastating. It sank or damaged many American warships and killed thousands. The next day, the United States declared war on Japan. America, with its huge industrial power, was now fully in the war. The conflict had become truly global. Japan won a series of early victories, capturing territories across Southeast Asia and the Pacific. But the tide was about to turn. Several key battles changed the course of the war. In the Pacific, the Battle of Midway in June 1942 was a huge victory for the United States. American codebreakers knew Japan's plan. U.S. naval aircraft sank 4 Japanese aircraft carriers, the heart of their fleet. Japan's navy never fully recovered. In North Africa, British and American forces fought against German and Italian troops. The Allied victory at El Alamein in late 1942 pushed the Axis forces out of Africa, opening the way to invade Italy. The biggest turning point came on June 6, 1944. It was D-Day. Over 150,000 Allied soldiers landed on the beaches of Normandy in France. It was the largest sea invasion in history. Despite heavy losses, the Allies established a foothold. A new front was opened in Western Europe, and the push to liberate France began. The end of the war in Europe was now in sight. From the east, the Soviet army pushed relentlessly towards Germany. From the west, the Allied forces, having liberated France, crossed into Germany itself. The final battle was for Berlin, the capital of the Nazi regime. Soviet soldiers fought through the ruined city street by street. Facing defeat, Adolf Hitler died in his bunker on April 30, 1945. A week later, On May 8th, Germany officially surrendered. The war in Europe was over. VE Day, or Victory in Europe Day, was celebrated around the world. But the war in the Pacific continued. Japan fought on fiercely. To avoid a bloody invasion of Japan, the United States made a difficult choice. In August 1945, atomic bombs were dropped on the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The destruction was immense. Faced with this new, terrible weapon, Japan surrendered on August 15th, ending World War II. The war left a world in ruins. Cities were destroyed and economies were shattered. More than 60 million people had died, the majority of them civilians. The scale of the horror, including the Holocaust, was revealed to a shocked world. In the aftermath, the world's leaders were determined to prevent such a disaster from ever happening again. The United Nations was created to promote peace and cooperation between countries. The war also changed the balance of power. The United States and the Soviet Union emerged as the two new superpowers, setting the stage for the Cold War. World War II reshaped borders, created new nations, and transformed societies. Its legacy is still with us today, a powerful reminder of the cost of conflict and the importance of peace. Like and subscribe for more detailed history videos.